Hello, I'm Elaine Smith, the Artistic Director of the Clamour Theater Company. We're holding these creative conversations with playwrights, with actors, with directors, so that you can find out more about Clamour Theater and about the artists who work with us. Hi, welcome to this edition of a Clamour Creative Conversation. Today, we're talking with Chandler Hubbard, a playwright selected for our 6th annual Playwrights Retreat, whose play Small Quiet Good is going to be read on March 21st as part of Clay and Water 2024 at McCormick Hall in Petty Farms, Florida. Welcome, Chandler. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So why don't you introduce yourself? Tell our viewers a little bit about yourself, whatever you think we'd like to know.
So I'm Chandler Hubbard, he, him, his. I was born and raised in Richmond, Virginia. Well, around. Yeah, I mean, I'm still pretty new at this. I've only had 1.5 full productions of any of my shows, one of which is going to be in May of this year. So break legs with that. Yeah, I'm really excited to be part of this. My first time doing any sort of retreat. So we'll see if I can use my time wisely. I'm very bad at time management. So, you know, I might spend a lot of time on Twitter. I'm gonna try to
That's
stick with it.
okay. Gives you a rest then, if nothing
Yeah.
else.
Yeah, just depends on how much coffee is available.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the play, Small Quiet Good. Tell us something about that without giving away things we shouldn't at this point.
Yeah, so just I guess from the most basic, it's about a modern day Medusa who's been trapped in hell since being beheaded. And it's about her escape attempt and the ways in which she has to reconcile her past and her own story and use that as a way to move forward and become a real person again, become a real boy.
Great. Okay, good. Tell me, why did you decide to apply to the retreat?
I'll be honest, I send on the daily, I send my scripts wherever I can. And it's a lot of no's. I mean, I feel like a lot of times theaters have the same sort of schedules for when they send out no's, because there'll be months where I don't hear anything, and then I'll get 7 rejections on the same day.
Wow.
So I saw this, I can't remember if it was New Play Exchange or it was on one of there are like 3 or 4 different websites where they all send information. And so I looked at it, and I had never done like a writer's retreat before. And I thought, you know, maybe I'll try. I'll send it
Good.
out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it is absolutely a numbers game. You got to just keep sending things out. Do you have anything in particular you're hoping to get out of the reading or the retreat as a whole?
I often am my own biggest roadblock, where I'm just so dedicated to every single word, every period, every part of the show. And there's a certain point where it's like, I can't rewrite this anymore. Somebody else has to help me with this. So it's nice to feel like we're building a community, and it's nice that I'm not the only voice in the room. Because writing it's a lonely process a lot of the times. So being part of a theatrical community is really key, and it's really helpful.
Yes, well, we do have that, I think. So that's cool. Tell me, do you have a favorite play of your own, or other than the one you're working on at the, this moment, which is everybody's standard answer?
It feels sacrilegious to choose one.
Okay, that's fair.
I mean, I think the one I'm most excited to continue to explore is one I wrote a few months ago. And the concept is that the main actor is replaced every night, and they aren't given a script beforehand. And there are teleprompters hidden throughout the theater that are sort of telling them what to do. And all the other actors are fully off book. And it's about a person who has a traumatic brain injury and their sort of attempts to find some sort of normalcy in a world that they no longer understand. Um, and it's part of it is about like how you are as a person and the choices you make and how we're being constantly influenced and barraged by other people's thoughts and other people's opinions and other people's actions. So it's, sort of this throwing an actor into the depths and sort of having them claw back from the disorientation and try to, put the pieces together with their own life as the audience also puts the pieces together.
So would this be a cast with an actor who really hasn't done it before every night?
Oh, so
or
it would be a new actor every
okay,
single.
yeah, because I mean,
Everyone else
you
is
could
the
just
same.
have a play about that and not have, and have the actor really know what's going on. But I
No,
think it's
I want the danger
I want the danger.
of live theater and everything could go wrong and
Yeah,
they could freeze.
no, absolutely.
They could,
Having done a little acting myself, I'm thinking that is dangerous.
yeah.
So
No, I think as an audience member, I would love to watch something where,
yeah,
I'm in the same boots as the actor where I have no idea what's going to happen.
right. No, that is very interesting. Okay. So I'm assuming it hasn't been produced yet. Is that correct?
No.
Okay. Well, keep me posted on that because I think it's really interesting.
Yes.
So, one of the things we usually ask is, tell us about three favorite plays that you have either seen or read by other authors and what you like about them.
So I think three favorite plays. I would say Mr. Burns, a post-apocalyptic play or post-electric play by Annie Washburn. Are we allowed to swear?
Go ahead.
Play called Stupid Fucking Bird by Aaron Posner, which is a modern day semi-adaptation of The Seagull. And then probably Copenhagen by Michael Frayn. I think Michael Frayn, yeah. And those three plays I really appreciate because it's sort of pushing the boundary of what a theatrical moment can be. I'm sort of bored with the the normal sort of play concept. I think that's one of the reasons why so many people view theater as outdated and a little fuddy-duddy because a lot of times it's just the same old stuff. And even if the content is different, it's sort of tailored to the same people, tailored to the same audiences, with the same sort of sensibilities. I like theater that surprises me, not just, with twists and turns, but also in terms of the ride home. I wanna drive home from the theater a different person. And there are lots of experiences where like the acting will really transport me, or I love the sound design and the set design. But when it comes to writing, um, it it really takes a special sort of writer and a special sort of ability to understand one's strengths and to really use it to the best ability. I try to think that I'm jack of all trades, where I can do, I've written a musical and I've written comedies and I've written tragedies and I've written horror, trying to dip my feet in all these different ponds. I don't know how successfully, but trying to surprise myself.
Okay, good. So as you're trying all these things, is there a book that has been helpful to you in your development as a playwright or just as a person even, and maybe it has nothing to do with playwriting?
I mean, my favorite book is House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski, which I think is one of only two books he's written. Um, and again, it has to deal with form. It's so much does not want to be a book, and it is telling you that it's not a book, that it's an experience. I mean, the physical copy of the book is part of the book. It's about it's about, at its core, it's about a house where it's larger on the inside than it is on the outside. And the book itself is larger on the inside than it is on the outside. But there's also, different grounding narratives where it's about the house, but it's about a documentary about the house, and it's about an essay written about the documentary, and it's about someone who finds the essay and is tormented by it. And that's sort of the outer story. Is the book you're reading is someone's response to someone's response to the story. So it gets really, I mean, it gets crazy. It starts out very normal.
Very
And then
multi-layered, it sounds like.
well, like by the end, like pages are upside down, or pages are, you have to read them in the mirror. At some point, the house opens up like into a chasm to hell, and at the same time, the book starts falling off the page. It's just a very interesting way to, like, it's a book that you can't read on a Kindle. It's a book you
Yeah.
have to hold in your hands. I love that.
Neat. That sounds that I'm gonna have to look into that. So that's great.
It's
So
nuts. It's really long, and it's really hard to get through because a lot of it is actually like an essay. It's like, there's a whole thing about echolocation, and it's like 20 pages of science. And by the time you get to the end of it, you're like, oh my God, this is the most horrifying thing I've ever read. And it's just a physics textbook, you
yeah.
know. Um,
Yeah.
it's again, it's one of those pieces of art that you can't walk away from the same.
Hmm. Wow. Cool. Okay, well, great. So for our viewers, if you would like to know more about Chandler, you can look for him and his work on the New Play Exchange at newplayexchange.org. And if you'd like to attend the free reading of Chandler's play, Small Quiet Good, on March 21st at 7 p.m. at that's Eastern Time at McCormick Hall, you can make a reservation on Clamour's website, which is also the place to go for information on our other events, clamourtheater.org. And you can find us on Facebook as Clamour Theater Company. We will post all of those URLs in the description below. And if you would like to see more interviews like this one, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. So Chandler, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today and letting our audience get to know you. We're looking forward to the reading, and we are very glad you've been able to join us for Clay and Water 2024.
I'm very glad to. I think the last time I was in Florida, I was naked and like a year old at Disney World, or which one's in Florida?
Disney World, yeah.
Yeah, there's like a picture
Okay.
of me, like with my butt out, age 1, roaming the halls of Disney.
Okay, well, the
That's
only rule here is you kind of have to keep your clothes on.
I will
But
keep my clothes on this time, but I'm excited. I've never been to Florida, and I love taking the train, so I'm gonna take a little train down to Florida.
no, that's good. Yeah, I used to, when we were children, we used to come to visit my grandparents on the train. It was it's a nice trip.
Yeah.
So that's great. Okay, well, thank you, and we will see you when you get here.